Now this part is going to be a challenge to me. Now there are two ways to color this. One would be to color it like a coloring book where you try to keep the colors within the lines. If you have drawn your sketch properly, closing all the lines, that would be quite easy, but it's going to be very time consuming. So the other way, the second way, is to basically paint very loosely, which is what I'm going to do, and also it's going to help me save a lot of time. So when I'm looking at a scene like this, there is atmospheric perspective going on. So objects or subjects that are in the background, the contrast is not going to be very high, and also from the reference photo, as I looked at it, all these areas here, they are very white. The sky is a very pale blue that changes to orange because the sun was setting that day. So later on, I'm going to be using a very pale wash of cerulean blue. I'm going to blend that with the setting orange sky, and then for this part here, I'm going to use a gray tone to color all this part. And for the buildings in front, I will be using brighter colors because subjects that are nearer to you, the contrast is going to be stronger because you can see them more clearly. So that's the overall plan. Let me show you the brushes that I'm going to use today. This is a Skoda Ultimo. This is a synthetic squirrel brush, if I am not wrong. I'm going to be using this to create the sky area. So this is a large brush that's good for covering large areas and perhaps all these brown areas as well. And this is my Navskaya Palitra Sable brush. This will color subjects like this, which are larger. And finally, for this small brush, this is a size 4 brush. This, by the way, is a size 5 or a size 6. For this smaller brush, I will be coloring those smaller areas that I cannot reach with my Navskaya brush. Okay, so let's start with some painting. I'm going to wet some of my colors first. I'll be wetting cerulean blue, French ultramarine. I'll be using this red. By the way, this is a mixture of Daniel Smith and Mission Gold watercolors. I need the orange. I will need some yellow as well. Later on, I'm going to mix that gray tone, so I need 3 primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. So this is my cerulean blue. Alright, this is going to be quite fun. I'm tilting my sketchbook up so that the water can flow down. I will be filling in all. I'll be filling to the edge of this page. So this is how this color is going to look like. Cerulean blue chromium is a granulating color. Alright, this is the part where I wash my brush and change to a different color. I'm going to blend this first into a very pale wash. Remember where your horizon line is. And now I can blend it into an orange. Maybe with a touch of red as well. My paper is not very wet, so the blending is not very smooth. You can see this is not very smooth blend. So let me try and use more water. And basically blend from this side here down. Now as I try and mix more colors, the colors are starting to mute. So it's starting to turn a bit muddy. So that's why you should do it once and do it nice. And for this area here, like I said earlier, I'm going to be using gray tones, so I'm just going to blend it like this. I'm going to leave some pockets of white, so don't color everything. Alright, this sharp edge is not very nice. It's not very nice. So I'm going to try and fix that by using more cerulean blue. Just to use a lot of water, just so that the water can just flow down. Alright, you can see the water is starting to flow down. I think this is slightly better. Because what you really want to do is to have the colors blend very softly. If you let the colors mix on the paper, it's going to be quite exciting, rather than mixing it on the palette, where if you mix completely, you will not be able to see the individual colors showing through, and that is actually what you want. You want the individual colors to show through. For example, if you are mixing a purple, you do not want to see purple, you want to see the red and the blue that blends together to make the purple. I'm trying to figure out where the light source is. The light source is actually coming from the right side. So as you're coloring, be careful not to color the right side of the buildings, the side that is hitting the sun. Now for this skyscraper, it's going to be this color. The paper is starting to buckle slightly, so I might want to use a clip to clip it down. This is the Saigon River, if I'm not wrong. I think some of the color actually went into the building because the building it was still wet. It doesn't matter because this part of the building is going to be dark, so it's not too bad. I hope the color doesn't spread over to this building here. I'm going to be using yellow, cerulean blue again for some green. I'm going to add some red. It's a very dirty green here. Alright, this is almost dry. You can see the cerulean blue deposit. Cerulean blue is a bit heavier, so it sort of moves downwards. But it's a very nice color to mix with. And now for the second stage, I will be mixing the strong colors right in front here. So I'm going to be mixing perhaps yellow ochre first. I'm going to start with yellow ochre to color some of the buildings that are supposed to be yellow. So I'm just giving them a very quick wipe of the color, just to put some colors here and there. I'm not following the sketch exactly. Alright, now I'm going to move on to mixing red. And now I'm going to color the shaded side of this building. I'm going to be using stronger shade of color, but still I want to retain the red color. I'm going to try and not mix the colors too cleanly. Alright, and now I'm going to color the blue buildings. I'll be using cerulean blue again. And for the horizon line, I'll be using this mixture. And I'm going to add water to clean my brush quickly before it dries. Use clean water and basically blend this gray tone into the houses. Okay, so now I will add in the shadows, the dark shadows. I'm going to start from this side here first. And now for the final touch, I'm just going to add some white dots to the cityscape. You can use any gel pen. The one that I like to use is the Uniball Signal. This, by the way, is not the Uniball. So this is the completed sketch of Ho Chi Minh City based on the photo that I have taken at the Saigon Skydeck. Usually when sketching such a cityscape, when sketching from high elevation, there is a lot of elements in the scene. It's very challenging, and for me, when sketching such a scene like this on an A5 sketchbook, this usually takes me around 2 hours. If I am using an A4 sketchbook, then it's going to take me 3 hours. If I want to draw very accurately, perhaps 4 hours or maybe even 5 hours. But it really comes down to what you want to achieve. If you just want a very quick rendition, for example, like what I'm doing right now, then I think that's good enough. When I look back at a sketch like this, if it's able to bring back the memories of me visiting the place, I think I have achieved my objective. Here's a close-up at the sketch. I love the granulating texture of cerulean blue. It's very beautiful. And it can be used to mix a very nice gray tone, a very nice neutral tone. Now for this part here, I used some white gouache on top of the watercolor because this part is actually quite light in color. I want to use the white gouache also because I want to contrast it with this building on the left side. So this is dark, and if this is also like a gray tone or quite dark, then there will not be any contrast. So I added the white gouache very close to this building. Here I use cerulean blue mixed with some yellow and some red. You can see 3 colors. So this is what I mean when I say mixing colors on the paper. If you were to mix very completely on the palette and then apply, then you are only going to get 1 shade of green. But here you can see some slight yellow, some blue and some red, and that makes this wash a bit more interesting. For these buildings here, well, they are basically just scribbles of rectangles. The main thing to take note of is buildings in front, they should be bigger than buildings that are going to be further away in the background. So as you draw buildings in front, as you draw towards the back, try and make those buildings progressively smaller. This will give you the sense of depth. And here I did not use a lot of details. Basically these are just square blocks. Buildings in front have a bit more detail, but again I try to simplify things. If you were to compare my drawing with the photo reference, you will see that it looks quite like it, but when you go and compare it side by side, it's not going to look very similar. But the general shape should be there. The general feeling when you look at a sketch like this, it should be there. So these are all the city buildings. When I took the reference photo, it was during sunset and the shadow wasn't very strong. So here it can be quite difficult to see where the shadow is coming from. Perhaps this building may give you some indication and I try to add that here as well. You can see this is the lighter side, this is the shadow side, but for other buildings the light and shadow is not that clear. So that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.